Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my channel, and today in this video we are going to look at the different hooks which are available with Livewire. Before we dive into the different hooks, let's understand what is a hook and what is the reason why we should be using hooks. So if you have been following this series along so far, then you would have seen that I have used certain hooks like mount and updated. But why did I use that? So what happens is whenever a component is being rendered on the DOM, then the component starts raise certain kinds of events. It looks for certain functions which are present in the component itself. And if it finds those functions, then it will execute them. For example, in Livewire, we have a hook called mount. We have a hook called boot, and there are many other such hooks. So when the component is trying to get into the DOM, it will first check whether there is a boot hook or not. It will also check whether there is a mount hook or not. And if it finds that, it will execute the code, whatever is written in that piece of function. This is a very similar concept which is available even with some of the popular front-end frameworks like React and Vue.js. So if you are coming from that background, I think you will be familiar and you will find yourself comfortable with that. But if you haven't done any of those and you are directly jumping into Livewire, then you should be aware of it. That's what my feeling is. Okay, so now let's try and understand what are the different hooks, and I will start with the boot and mount hooks. Boot hook in our component, let's just take this event page component which is rendering this entire thing, right? I will add a public function called boot. Now whatever we do inside this method will get executed by the component whenever it is supposed to. So let's just say we add a small log to it, event boot hook, something like that. And then the other hook which we have is the mount function or the mount hook. Okay, so let me add that as well and change the log that we are writing to. Okay, let me look at my log file. It is clear. So now if I hit refresh, I can see that the boot hook got executed, and because my mount spelling was wrong, the mount didn't get triggered. Let me refresh now, and you can see that both the logs came in, which is event boot hook and event mount hook. Now you need to understand the sequence of these functions doesn't matter. Even if I have my mount on top, and if I now refresh, the boot is always coming first, which basically means in the life cycle of the component's different hooks, the boot method is executed first. You need to keep this in mind. But then, if both are coming when we refresh the page, why do we need two hooks? Well, that's where the boot method's difference is something we need to understand. So I'll go to my event page and let me add a new public property called count. Initialize it a value of 0. I'll keep things very simple in the blade file. Not an input, maybe a button. So what are we doing? I'm printing out the count variable over here, and there is a button called add, and click of that will trigger the increment method, which I'll add right now. And over here, I'll do this. So with this in place, if I refresh, add, add. Okay, there's some problem with my um, independent component. I'll just remove that for now and refresh. Yeah. So let me clear the log file so that you understand what is happening. So first I refresh, I got the boot and the mount hook. But now I'm not refreshing. I'm just clicking on the add button once, twice, three, four, five. And can you see, every time I clicked, it resulted in additional 5 logs of the boot hook. The mount never happened again. We have only one mount, but we have multiple boot. This is because every time there is a change in the value, the component basically fires the boot hook. So this is our understanding. Now what can we derive from that? Well, if there is any kind of information that is required once by the component, let's just say I want to pull some information from the database. Ideally, I would like to do that on my mount hook because that is going to get executed once. And then if there are any interactions happening which is changing the value, I can change whatever we have coming from the database and modify it rather than every time making a database call. But if there are certain things which you feel needs to be recalculated or actually an API call needs to be made every time there is a change in the component, well, you are free to do so. But you need to understand the difference between the mount and the boot. So the next hook that we are going to look at is updating. Let me go to the main component where I have this name property being updated through this input field, right? So if I add that hook, the updating hook gives me 2 parameters, the property, the value. So if I do a die dump like so, and now if I run something, I can see that the property name, which is name, and the property value, which is check, is visible. Now, one thing to note is in here, updating doesn't allow me to change anything to the value. Okay. So basically that means if I have some kind of check, like if the value is bad, then I can throw new exception. Okay, it's just an example. So basically what will happen is I can also have the property equals name because that will solidify if I have multiple properties on my component. But let's just say because right now we have only one property in main component, right, which is name. What is going to happen is if I put anything, it just does a hi and changes everything. But if I do bad, I click, it throws an exception, but if you see, nothing changed. So it is kind of a middleware kind of a thing, I would say, where it allows you to tap into the value and check before the value is actually updated. So if you want, you can raise certain events or throw an exception, stuff like that. But yeah, you cannot change the value. Or maybe at least I don't know how to change that value because in here, yeah, because the next hook which we are going to look at is called updated, and that is where the value has actually changed. It's like the value has been committed, right? So updated. Now in here we only get one parameter, which is the property, because value has been updated. So we can always do a this dot the name of the property and we will get that. For example, if $property equals name, this name equals a very simple code over here, which is this name. So what is going to happen is if I see that the property is name, every time there is a change in the property, I'll make it uppercase. So let's see if this is working. I click, it says hi, and then everything is uppercase, right? And the other code, which is this bad being an exception, right? It will continue to happen. So this is the beauty. You can even tap into the values after the changes are done. You can also alter the values because now, as you know, there's no one stopping me from like this. Again, a very random example. I don't think in a real life you will ever do that, but it is important to understand that these things are possible. Now, we have done all of these. There is one more way. If you see right now, we are making a conditional check on the property name, but Livewire also allows us to do something like updated and then the name of the property. In this case, what will happen is obviously we will not get the property as the parameter because we know that it is the name property which has changed, and we can directly do this. So I'll just comment this entire thing out, and again something like this. So let us refresh once more, click, and can you see this also works? So when you have to write a cleaner code in a way that you're targeting a specific property, if you don't want to do a conditional thing, you can do this as well. So again, these are some of the niceties which the package is providing it to you, and completely depends how you want to structure your code. So yeah, that's what I wanted to cover in this video on hooks that are available with Livewire. If you like this video, then do click on the thumbs up icon. And yeah, from the total watch time of my channel, about 10% users are only the subscribers and about 90% are still not subscribed. So if you are one of them, and if you feel that this video has helped you, then I would request you to subscribe to this channel and help me increase more subscribers, which will in turn help me spread the videos to a wider audience. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Bye.